I guess I can officially start this video off by saying Happy New Year to you all. 2025 is now well in the past, and I guess this is the first time I'm properly recording a video, so I hope 2026 is treating you well, and can I just say, I think this year is going to treat the game as well. 2025 was pretty turbulent. Of course, the biggest piece of news that could have possibly dropped for my channel and also plenty of other simmers around the world was the buyout. And I'm sure that you've seen people moving away from The Sims, not fully having it as their focus content. And that's something I definitely want to take in to 2026. I'm still going to be playing The Sims 4. There's still like plenty of videos that I would like to do. Yes, maybe some of them aren't gonna be like full on like spanning series, but I do still get enjoyment out of that game. I won't be buying anything new. I won't be covering anything new. However, having said that, there's also a lot of games coming out in the year of 2026 that I am definitely excited about and can absolutely see myself making videos on, streaming with you guys, twitch.tv if you are following over there. I stream every Monday and Wednesday evening from 7 till 10 p.m. UK time. I'm also fairly sure I'm going to start uploading my VODs to my second channel, which I will actually leave a link to down below, because I know a lot of you have been asking about that, and I really want this year to be the year that I finally focus on it. But enough about the kind of upkeep and updates to this channel that you can expect in this new year. I want to talk about the games that I personally am excited for, hopefully that release in 2026. Now, I will say I am a fan of no crunch time for devs. I don't believe in crunch time. I think that games should be made with passion and also time, and also protecting the developers who are actually behind some of our favorite video games. So whilst I fully support if these games do get delayed, these are the ones that hopefully will be coming out in 2026. Obviously, kicking off this list with, I guess, more of an update. If you have a Switch 2, then I guess you can upgrade to the Switch 2 version of Animal Crossing New Horizons. But I guess it doesn't really introduce a lot of new stuff. However, we do know that we are getting the hotel, which is pretty much the Happy Home Paradise DLC, but in a hotel. I would actually love to make a wish list of all the things that I hope is coming in the Animal Crossing 3.0 update. Obviously, that is dropping on the 15th of January, and I absolutely will be making a video on that. We'll be exploring the new update together. I still need to design my island. I know I said I was going to do it over the festive period, but turns out all I really wanted to do was really play some board games. I fear that a lot of the stuff that I would love to see happening in this update has pretty much already been confirmed that it's not happening, or players have like sat through a presentation and kind of taken an educated guess that things might not be happening that I would like to see. But I'm not gonna lie to you all, I've kind of ignored content about the 3.0 update because I want to fully explore it for myself. I'm just excited to see the Animal Crossing community kick back up. A lot of people have been streaming it over on Twitch recently, myself included. I have fully been enjoying just delving back into that game, pretty much getting the same enjoyment out of it now as I did in 2020. I really think that me hunting for all the Nook Miles is really helping with that, because it's giving me something to focus on, even though I've almost completed my museum and it feels like I've done a lot of what was already available in New Horizons. Moving on to something completely new though, not an updated game, but a game that I have heard people talk about, and I will hold my hands up and say I may have misfairly judged. It is of course Starsand Island. This is apparently coming on the 1st of February. I kind of let this one fly under the radar for me because it is pretty much a farming slash life simulation game, and I feel like we've had so many of those recently, and they're fun for me for the first few days, and then I'm just like, you know what, I just still prefer Stardew Valley. I think Stardew did it so well, and I do quickly start to lose interest in farming and life sims. However, I didn't know Starsand Island's game, because tell me why, as I was prepping for this video, I watched one of their trailers and I saw that you can skateboard and also rollerblade in this game. That was the thing that really sealed the deal for me. I still don't know how long it will hold my attention for because it is a farming and life sim, and I feel like so many of them are very, very repetitive. I will say the building in Starsand Island also looks a little bit more Sims-esque, and you all know I am hashtag not a builder in The Sims, never have been, probably never will be, but the building in Starsand Island also looks very, very intriguing. This next one, I don't know how realistic it is considering I have currently held off on buying a Switch 2. I currently don't own a Switch 2. I don't really have plans of buying one. I think I was kind of holding out hope that we'd maybe have a cuter version by now, or you know, Animal Crossing, a new one would have come out, which I really don't see that happening now that we're getting an update. I could maybe see it happening 2027, 2028, but I don't think it's in the near future whatsoever, and I think that would be the game where I'm like, now I have to get a Switch 2. That was, of course, before AI continued to mess the world up and increase the price of RAM, so maybe I'll have to get a Switch 2 a little sooner than I really wanted to, but that also means that I'd be able to play this next game, which is, of course, Pokemon Pokopia. Now, I am a Pokemon fan through and through. I've loved Pokemon since collecting the cards, since the very first time I played Pokemon Red on my Game Boy Color. I absolutely have adored Pokemon from being little. I recently just got back into Pokemon cards. My girlfriend absolutely clawed me down that money drain with her. We went to our first card show recently, which was pretty fun. Pokemon Pokopia is actually coming out on the 5th of March. I've seen a lot of people describe this as like Animal Crossing meets Pokemon. You are basically this ditto human form, and you have to decorate your island and do up your island to draw Pokemon to that island. It's also kind of a mix of Ooblets, which is another game I absolutely love, although this one definitely seems to play on the personalities of Pokemon and their kind of interests. If you start fishing, you draw more fish Pokemon like Magikarp, for example, to your island. You eventually can start making them homes, and it's kind of just a farming life simulation tied in to the Pokemon world. It's something that's never really been done before in terms of Pokemon, and it looks like a really, really cute game. Whilst we currently don't have a specific release date, this game is apparently coming in Q1 of 2026, and it is a game that I have played very, very recently here on the channel. If you haven't checked it out, I did in fact play the Piece Together demo. I will leave a link to that video in the description down below and also at the end of this one, because if you have ever played Unpacking, if you enjoy journaling, or if you just kind of enjoy, I want to say, like 90s and noughties, especially British and English nostalgia, this game is absolutely going to be right up your alley. It's kind of a narrative-driven puzzle game where you are creating your own journal based on your childhood and growing up with your childhood friend. You recently moved schools when this game takes off, and it's all about your friendship and trying to reconnect with your friend through this journal and all the memories. I can't even explain the feelings I felt when I played this. I almost cried because it was so nostalgic for me. I absolutely love the feeling of nostalgia. I know not everyone is a fan of it, but even down to kind of the art style, the stickers that are used, the language that was used, it felt so quintessentially British and like growing up in the noughties, down to going to visit like the dinosaurs in the museum, and the art style kind of replicating Tracy Vika or 64 Zoo Lane. I definitely think this one is going to tug at your heartstrings. And whilst I played that demo and did have some critiques, not really of the game itself, but just more variety in like the levels and the puzzles that I would like to see, And it was just a demo, it was just the first couple of levels, and it does seem that from the previews that are available whilst you're in that game, the kind of trailers that they have used, they're definitely gonna switch up the puzzles and make it a little bit more difficult in some situations. I know I already mentioned Unpacking, but it also kind of reminds me of A Little to the Left, and I absolutely cannot wait to get my hands on the full game. I am not alone when I say I am looking forward to this game. I'm fairly sure every simmer under the sun has heard of this game and in one way or another is interested in its early access release, whether that's just kind of seeing how it plays, what it actually looks like, how it actually feels. It is, of course, Paralives, which has been pushed back. It was meant to release in December of 2025. It had a 6-month pushback and is now currently being released on the 25th of May. Again, that could always change. Game development shifts all of the time. I personally would really love for it to still come out in May. I do know, though, that that is kind of a knock-on effect of the buyout news, and I don't want this to be rushed. I want the team to be proud of what they put out in early access, and I really, really want it to be a strong foundation, especially considering it is a life simulation. And something that we all know about life simulation games is you really do need an expansive game for it to work as a life simulation. I know the art style isn't for everyone, but it is definitely for me. I've always really, really liked the art style of Paralives. Again, I have given my critiques here or there. I know it's not even released yet, but a few months ago now, the developers actually did a gameplay live stream, and I have a video going over all of my thoughts of that and kind of what I would expect upon early access based on what we saw in that gameplay live stream. Of course, this is less of like a farming life simulation. It doesn't really have anything to do with farming. It's way less Stardew Valley and way more Sims-esque. You create your paras and you raise them through their lives. You see where their journey takes them when it comes to the hobbies, the interests, the jobs that they go through. I'm just excited for that to release so that the community can really get their hands on it, start to see what you can and can't do, start to see where this game actually thrives and maybe where the limitations are a little bit more with hands-on experience, and can really help the development of that game by giving feedback. Moving back into the farming sim genre, but this one definitely has a twist. My girlfriend actually told me about this game just a few weeks ago, and since then I have been like, I want this game ASAP. Currently, it's speculated that this is going to have a release around Q3 or Q4 of 2026, but nothing has been confirmed, and this is Grave Seasons, which of course you move into this town, you start your own farm. However, within this new town that you have moved to, there is a supernatural serial killer on the loose. You can date people within the town, you can get to know them as friends, but whilst you are playing, you will also have to start solving the mystery of what is going on and how these killings are happening. It's nice to finally have a narrative that isn't just you run away from a busy life and now you get to explore this town and get to know the people. Next up is a game that I've been hearing about for the last decade. You heard me correctly. This game was first announced and first talked about way back in 2016. The reason so many people knew about this is at the time it was by the same publisher that actually published Stardew Valley. That was originally published under Chucklefish until the contract ran out and Concerned Ape actually just took back Stardew Valley as an indie. And it is of course Witchbrook, which I'm fairly sure was originally known as Spellbound. It's a life simulation game where you're actually playing as a witch within college, which I just think being a witch, going out and foraging, probably like making potions, trying to pass your classes is already such a fun idea. It's less of like a gardening slash fishing. I'm assuming you maybe would be able to do all of those things because I'm assuming you'll also have to like forage ingredients and stuff, which is something that I really love about like farming sims. But I think being able to work on the college side of things does offer a little switch up from the usual, and I'm definitely excited to still play this. However, because it's been 10 years, it's like, is this game actually ever gonna happen? I know so many people are excited for it. It isn't made by Concerned Ape. It's not by the same person who made Stardew Valley. I know initially they kind of lent on that a little bit when it first got announced, but again, I think it's different enough within that like farming life simulation genre that it is actually gonna be really fun to explore and is going to feel quite new. Unfortunately, no current release date for Witchbrook. It could always be delayed once again. I'm fairly sure this was another game that was meant to come out in 2025 but then got pushed back. So I have my fingers crossed that it could potentially come out this year, but I'm not going to hold any hopes on that. 2026, apparently the year where I'm really vibing with my nostalgia, but we have another game that is focused in the mid 2000s and I'm fairly sure is going to bring me an awful lot of joy, is Restory. Now, this again just has a generic 2026 release. There is no specific date for this being released, which is unfortunate because I really want to get my hands on it now that I know that this game is going to come out. But this is a narrative-driven shop management simulator, which I've never really played many shop simulators. I know a lot of people have been into like Supermarket Sim and the TGC card simulator. I haven't really played with any of those, but this one seems really interesting because you're actually working in a Tokyo store and customers will actually come tell you their stories. You will get to know them. They'll actually bring Y2K tech for you to fix up. So if you are a person who enjoys technology, if you've done any of your own upgrades to consoles, maybe you've upgraded your old Game Boys, which is something that I've personally never done myself but have always been interested in. I watch a lot of videos about it, even just games like Power Wash Simulator where you clean stuff up. I find that really soothing, and I think this kind of just takes so many of my interests and just rolls them all into one game. I think it's going to be cool to learn about the technology. It will actually be really cool to see some people who maybe do tech restoration play this game and actually see if it is accurate and if it can actually be educational. I would love it if I could play this game and then maybe take my old Game Boy SP and actually put in a new like LED screen so that it's more usable for me so that I can play Pokemon Ruby again and again and again. Leading on to the next and final game, which is another narrative-driven adventure game, which you all know I absolutely love. Let me eat it all up. Just last year, I played Lost Records, and Mixtape also seems quite similar to Lost Records in the sense that it's a narrative adventure game where three friends are spending their kind of last night together, and it's set to an iconic soundtrack. Now, that being said, I feel like unfortunately I won't be playing this one on YouTube. Obviously, copyright. I highly doubt that they're gonna have a copyright-free version of this game, and even if they do, I imagine it's not gonna hit the same as the copyrighted version. I usually play them non-copyrighted on my channel, and then I'll go back in my own time and play the copyrighted version and still get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. It just always hits different with that official soundtrack. Whilst I am just excited about the premise, the nostalgia, and also the soundtrack, because I love games that make me feel things through music, even just when I'm watching a scene play out and I'm not even really like playing it. I also just adore the art style. This game literally looks like a film. It looks like a stop motion animated. It kind of has a sense of Into the Spider-Verse, which is an art style that I absolutely adore, and it just feels like one of those games that is gonna have just such a strong like coming of age story about being a teenager, but I just know it's gonna hit so well, and I'm so excited for this one. And there we have it. Those are the 9 games that I am ridiculously excited to maybe get my hands on, hopefully play some of these on the channel with you lot, hopefully play some over on Twitch, and just really get to explore with you all. I would love to know though, what are your favorites? What games are coming out in 2026 that you absolutely cannot wait to get your hands on? If there are also any in my list that one you were already looking forward to, or 2 I may have introduced you. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you learn about any new games this video? And what was it that I said about them that got you interested? I've been doing this channel for a fair few few years now. I feel like we have very similar tastes, so that's why I wanted to share these games with you. If I'm excited for them, I know that most of you are also probably going to have an interest in these games, so thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video, and also thank you for all the years that have come before this one. I know this year could get quite experimental on the channel. I, for one, am excited for it. I hope you lot choose to stick around for the ride and are also excited for it, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.